Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our special Behind the Geeks episode with some of the cast members from the upcoming Star Wars live-action series hitting Disney Plus, Andor. If you're joining us for the first time, well, we are Geekcentric, a podcast and YouTube channel celebrating the world of movies, TV shows, toys, collectibles, gaming, and all things geek-centric. Joining me for today's special Behind the Geeks episode, let me tell you, he's a rebel scum who I also call my brother, Mr. Nate Shelton. How are you, sir?
A rebel scum, you say? You know
what?
That
or Nerf herder, but I've used Nerf herder way too many times to describe you, so I feel like it's
at least
it's
rebel
just
scum comes
things.
with some sort of like heroic nature. You know what I mean? Like a Nerf herder. What does a Nerf herder do? They herd Nerfs. Like it's nothing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I totally get you. I totally get you. So as I mentioned at the top of the show, we had a chance to sit down with a few of the cast members from the upcoming live-action Star Wars series Andor, which is hitting Disney Plus September 21st, which is actually later this week, with 3 episodes. So it's a 3-episode premiere, which is pretty big. Yeah. A huge thanks to our friends at Disney Studio Canada for hooking us up with these interviews. We love the opportunity to chat with those who are behind the things that we love to watch and enjoy very much so, especially when it comes from a galaxy far, far away.
Oh, yeah.
Now, before we get into it, Nate, would love to know for you to share with us who Kyle and Denise are playing in the upcoming Andor series.
Yes, for sure. So Denise is playing an ISB agent whose name is Dedra Meero, and she's kind of this I guess in a sense she's just surrounded by men who she sees as incompetent, and they really are, and she wants to be the best. She wants to be at the top of her game. And I also got a chance to talk with Kyle Soller in the same interview, and he plays Syril Karn. And, you know, I think we kind of talked in the interview about how these characters are on a similar trajectory, with you know, kind of both working on that side of the fight, and really just dealing with all these people that honestly they could be doing their jobs better, and we just see these two people that are trying to do their jobs as best as possible. But as you'll hear in the interview, they're not really necessarily working for the best people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I chatted with Genevieve O'Reilly, who is playing yet again Mon Mothma in the upcoming series. And at this point in the Star Wars story, she is a senator before she becomes the leader of the rebellion. So that's really interesting, getting a little bit more insight in her desire to want to continue to tell the story of Mon Mothma at a different stage in the Star Wars story. I also talked to Adria Arjona, who's playing a new character, Bix Caleen, I believe is how you pronounce it,
That's right.
who is the owner and manager of a sales yard in Ferrix, and is a longtime friend of Cassian Andor, and she's entirely new to the Star Wars universe. She like, we will preface here now, we have seen the first 4 episodes of Andor, and from what we saw, she's definitely a standout. So I'm really happy that we had a chance to talk with her. But with that out of the way, I think we should get to the interviews so you can see and hear what they had to say.
Hey there, Denise and Kyle. My name is Nate. Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. How are you doing today?
Where the hell are you?
That is a sexy room.
Is that your bedroom?
It's bedroom / studio. The entire podcast budget just goes to all these lights.
This is where the magic happens, man.
This is it.
I'm into it.
Good for you,
Wow.
Nate.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sort of like an aquarium or something.
Yeah. I try to, well, especially when I'm watching Star Wars, it's fantastic because I can make all the lights sort of Star Wars-esque.
Oh my God.
I'm loving your characters so far on the show. I've only gotten to see a little bit of it. But I wanted to ask for both of you, like, you know, I think your journeys are kind of on a similar path for both of your characters. What is it like, you know, with the series exploring both sides of humanity on this conflict? What is it like playing these characters that are just trying to do the best at what they do while working for a corrupt government or empire, I guess?
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about this, as you can imagine. Like, you can't really approach playing these characters in a judgment of whether they're good or bad. Like, it's about finding, like, this woman I'm playing has found herself working for essentially a fascist regime, and she's a woman in this sort of man's world within it, and so she wants to become respected and powerful, and she's faced with too, like, there's another character who doesn't do his job well enough. Like, she wants excellence in every aspect. It's just so happens it's, I think if she was a rebel, she would be an excellent rebel. But she has just found herself in the fascist regime. So she's going to become an excellent fascist.
I think they're both the heroes of their own journey, you know, even though they're on that side. And Syril is really trying to make his way up the bureaucratic corporate structure system, because it's a very clear ladder to power and place and status and self-worth. And that's massively corruptible to someone who hasn't come from much and is searching for a sense of identity. And
it's so dangerous, isn't it, to reward somebody who's looking to be powerful like that within a system like the one that we find these characters in, to become powerful in that without having to do any of that sort of inner work. They're both in serious, like, I think it's quite frightening.
You need a trauma therapist.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I hope that I hope the Empire has something like that. Again, I think there is good and evil on both sides.
Well,
but Cassian's super complicated, right?
Oh yeah,
which is what's amazing.
Yeah,
you know? It's so human to be able to portray all these characters and these new characters as well as Cassian and dive into it's messy.
Really messy.
You know, it's really messy, and
it's
that's
not
real.
our fault that we're evil.
Talk to my mom, man.
Talk to my parents. We're gonna get to that.
Well, listen, we're almost up for time here. It goes by so quickly. I wanted to ask for this final question here. Obviously, I love that the series is focusing on humans and people, but I wanted to know if you were both handed a lightsaber for any reason, what color would you want your lightsaber to be, and why? Yeah, right.
We're finding that I know very little.
It wouldn't be a surprising question from Denise at this point.
It's really, really bad.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What color would you? I would like a black one.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Dark
Is that
saber.
possible?
I don't know.
Yeah.
A dark saber. I
would
would
be
like
dope.
a dark saber. Yeah.
Let's
Can
go,
we make
Denise.
one of them?
Cool.
Surely in that bedroom you have there, you can.
Yeah, I
summon
probably have one or
fashion
two. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want a dark saber, not a lightsaber.
All right.
Yeah, I'd love like a kind of like really light blue, but sort of like gold on the edges or something kind of light coming out of it or something.
Those are the those are the most creative answers I've ever gotten for that question. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time, Denise and Kyle.
Thank you.
Again, I can't wait to see you. Oh yeah, of course, every time. Love to have you back. You can check out how the lights have changed. But yeah, thank you so much, and I can't wait to see where you grow this season. You two have a great rest of your day. Okay.
Thanks, man. You too.
Hi, Genevieve. My name is Justin. Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. How are you today?
Hi, Justin. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I am very excited to chat with you about your return to Star Wars. And I'd actually like to start the conversation there. What is it about Star Wars that has made you want to continue to be a part of this galaxy?
I think Mon Mothma. I think the opportunity to learn more about her and to give her more of a voice is what's really exciting for me here and in previous iterations. You know, I have had the opportunity to explore her at different times in different versions, but I think this is the first time that we really get to stretch her and discover her.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And, you know, as you mentioned, having played Mon Mothma at different moments throughout Star Wars, who is she in this moment?
We meet Mon Mothma in Andor in a place we've never seen her before. She's usually surrounded by a band of rebels. She's usually, she's supported by a rebel fleet in Rogue One. Right. When we meet her in Andor, she is neck deep in Empire. She is navigating a very shadowy world of imperial politics. She is a lonely, isolated female voice in opposition to Palpatine. It's dangerous. Yeah, and I love in her introduction, we get to see that sort of
that conflict where she's going to have to go with perception versus reality. And I think that's very much what her character is going to explore. So it's a very interesting time to be introduced to the character. Now,
Yeah.
we've heard a lot from actors in Star Wars that say, you know, with the lore being so deep that they don't get to really change much about their characters. Now, when talking about a character like Mon Mothma, how much do you get to bring to the character in contrast to what's already been established for you?
I think what certainly what Tony Gilroy is doing is really trying to respect the work that is there, and certainly
Right.
I do too. Try to look at the work that's been done and to respect it, and then to be able to create parameters that we can genuinely be creative within. I think this time in Star Wars lore has not been investigated very much. So it allows us a freedom of discovery. Obviously, we know a lot about Mon Mothma's past. We know that she's been representing Chandrila as a senator within the Imperial Senate since the age of 16. We get to ask questions of that now. You know, Tony was really interested in asking, what does that look like? What is that life like for a woman who's been a senator representing her planet since the age of 16? What is the customs and the constructs around that life? And that's what's really interesting. So we get to kind of dive deeper. It's less kind of linear event motivated and more let's actually ask some questions here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It feels personal and it feels very intentional with that. And as you mentioned, you know, we know where she ends up. So this is very much telling the story of how she gets there. And I love that. And I love your portrayal of the character. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us and learn a little bit more. Really means a lot. And can't wait to see the rest of the series and see how it unfolds.
Thank you so much for having me, Justin.
Awesome. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Hi, Adria. My name is Justin. Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. How are you?
Hi, Dustin. I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. I'm very excited to talk to you about this series. And I know you're new to Star Wars and being a part of the universe. I maybe just to kick things off, what does it feel like to be a part of this big galaxy?
Oh man, it feels amazing. It feels great. It felt great. Well, you know, the first second that I got to be on set, that felt. You know, that was a moment I'll never forget. And then, you know, we just went to D23 and you kind of realize you're like, oh my God, this is the reason that we did this. And I got to put faces and I was like, you are the reason that I'm doing this. And it's all been so exciting. And to be part of this one in particular.
Right. Absolutely. I can only imagine. And, you know, I got to say, I adore Bix. I think she's bold, she's fearless, but also at times she seems to really keep to herself and she's kind of reserved at times. So without giving anything away, I wanted to know, what was your inspiration to portray Bix as this sort of fierce and incredibly loyal character? Was there a person that kind of came to mind to kind of sculpt the character, or is that very much who you are?
I am loyal to the bone. I think that's one thing I think my family and my friends could say. I think being loyal is it's like what I focus on. But I think my grandmother was a big inspiration for me. She was incredibly strong, not tough, but strong. Right. And she helped so many people and also was a mean negotiator. You do not want to bargain with that woman. And I was like, yes, I'm gonna channel as much as I can from her and sort of bring this into Bix, because at the end of the day, you know, Bix she's a hustler. You know, yeah. Everybody in Ferrix is a hustler. You gotta be if you're living in Ferrix. And then there's like the bravery element to Bix, which was so interesting to me. You know, that's truly bravery, which she does. She understands that the decision that she's gonna make and helping someone that she truly loves is gonna be to her own detriment. That is a known fact. Every time you help Cassian, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you're new to Star Wars because there was a lot of research that you were doing prior to getting into this series. And I want to know, like, obviously the story is not about Jedi, it's not about Sith Lords, it's about people, and it's very personal. And with your take and being new, do you think Star Wars needs more of this? Do you think Star Wars needs more of this sort of refreshing perspective of people and to kind of ground it?
I think every show is different. I can speak on this show, and I think, what I love about this show is that it is so grounded, is that it is about humans and it's a mirror to our society in a way, and I think it makes it so much more of an empathetic journey. I think people get to follow this and really fall in love with characters and not hate other characters as much, because you'll see both sides to every decision making. I think, in real life, we're not good, we're not bad. We live in a very murky, gray area. And I think every character is like that in this show. And you see, even someone that is working for ISB, you'll see him sort of go home,
right?
And what he lives and how he lives, and you're like, oh, that's the reason he is the way he is. And
right.
He's just trying to do his job, but he's getting in the way of something
right.
much better. So I think that's super interesting, and it makes it so much more intriguing as an experience, as an audience member.
Yeah, selfishly, I'm asking that question because I do believe that this is the right direction for Star Wars. As much as we love to see Jedi and Sith Lords, the people that make up the galaxy, it's so great. And I love the human side of it. It feels very real. So I wanted to thank you again for taking the time to join us on the Geekcentric podcast. It really means a lot. I'm excited to see more of your character. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Hope you have the best day. Bye.
Bye. And we're back. Okay, so let's kick things off talking about how enamored Kyle and Denise were with the lighting in your
I know. And you and I talked before we even started recording this about do we turn the lights on again or do we keep them off? And we've had other interviews since.
No.
We interviewed I interviewed Daniel Whitney, Larry the Cable Guy, and we were Justin was like, make sure you have the lights off because we don't need to waste another half an interview just talking about
Mater
your room.
would have gone off on you.
Oh, he would have been like, you got her down with those lights. No, you know what though? I actually really enjoyed it. I thought honestly, it took a lot of, I don't know, sometimes we get a little bit nervous before we do these things. And
sure.
I was a little bit nervous, and that immediately I was like, oh, we're just goofing around now. We're just having fun. And they were such a joy to talk to.
I feel like they appreciated it as well because I'm sure they, even based on the conversation that you guys were having, a lot of the questions in and around their characters and the similarity between them, it's something that they've discussed at great lengths. And, I love that leading into this question, though, you get this sort of disarming, very vulnerable moment where they're just chuckling and laughing with you. And it was a fun little moment to have before you got really into it. And it caps off the end of your conversation, too, just how much fun they had with the idea of not necessarily knowing as much about Star Wars.
Denise apparently Kyle was like, it wouldn't be surprising if she doesn't know what a lightsaber is at this point. But dude, the fact that she thought of the dark saber without knowing what the dark saber was awesome. And then Kyle just being like, I want a light blue one with gold on the edges. I was like, dude, that's amazing. And then she's like, yeah, he's high right now. I'm like, what? Like, are you allowed to say that? And so, but yeah, man. And I actually think I might have accidentally invited them both back to my bedroom. Which is kind of a weird thing at the end of the interview there, but
bedroom/studio, bro.
There we go.
You made the difference.
Made the distinction.
You made sure to make the difference. You're not just in my bedroom. You're in the place that I also try to conduct. But hey, some of these interviews are conducted from people's bedrooms. And
totally. I think mine
that's completely
looks
fine. That's what it is.
Mine looks much better.
Yours is a little flashier than most, I will say. So,
obviously getting to start off with that light moment, because I do think this series, as you said earlier, we've seen 4 episodes. This is the heaviest, I think, that we've gotten Star Wars in quite some time. And so to kind of pull it back in, it was nice to start off light. But then Kyle, talking about how both of their characters, both Dedra and Syril, are kind of, they are the heroes on their own journey. And, he's right. We kind of see, both of them see themselves as more competent than everyone else, and they're searching for power. And I love that they sort of bring up the human element of the fact that when you're in that position, when you're trying to just get to the top, you're so easily corruptible by that passion, by that longing. You will make some missteps along the way.
Yeah, I think again, we won't get into too much detail about this show, but I think what Denise and Kyle are very much talking about is going to really be a through point throughout all of the characters that we're going to see through Andor.
Denise at the end, and I only caught this after watching back. I didn't catch it in the moment because
her parents, right? She referenced the parents,
and she says, "But we'll get to that." And I'm like,
"We'll get to that."
Wait. Does she just mean in life? Does she just mean like she'll eventually talk about her parents in an interview, or is she talking about Dedra's parents?
I think she is.
I'm intrigued.
I think she's saying, like, in some capacity, seeing her past, understanding a little bit more about why she is where she is in the Empire. It would be really, really interesting to see how that all unfolds, right?
And then moving from the I guess the dark side to the light side, getting to talk to Adria Arjona, just in regards to Bix. What was that like?
I was definitely nervous, like you said. We always get a little nervous, right, when we get into these situations. But I wanted to really understand, because she has such a passion for what I think is the character of Bix and what she stands for. And her character from these first 4 episodes definitely pops off the screen as someone to be really rooting for, to be connected with. So very excited for the opportunity to chat with her about this character, because it just shows that she's very committed to it. And I wanted to know, like, where does that inspiration sort of come from?
It's cool because she called out her grandmother, and I think the part of me that sort of like that made my heart kind of smile a little bit, because everyone loves their grandma, and it's like for her grandma to sort of live on through this character of Bix. I mean, it's funny, we talk about these characters, especially now that we're getting into, what is this, our 4th Star Wars live action series or more? I can't even keep counting anymore. But the fact that we have so many of these additional characters being introduced, it's funny because we sort of look at them and you could go so far as to see them as like, oh, we'll never see that person again. But I think with the character of Bix, she has that sense that she does have that lasting power. And I saw other interviews with her where she talked about like how excited she was to see the character cosplayed in the future, and we will see that in the future, because these characters have such an amazing way in all of these series of just giving someone that sense of like, that's me, I connect with that person. And we're seeing that more and more through Star Wars now, and I think she'll definitely get that with Bix. And I think it's lovely, and I love how she called out that, like, in this series you won't necessarily hate characters as much as maybe something, kind of like a Game of Thrones, where there's moments where you're just like, oh, I hate that character, I want them to die. In this, you actually will get to kind of understanding where these people are coming from, and the fact they're just trying to do their jobs. And I love that she caught that as well. Yeah,
it's definitely the moral ambiguity, right? Like Game of Thrones is such a great shout out, because I think that you very much see a range of characters, good and bad. They're just out for themselves, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this was a great conversation to have. I think that for her to be so committed to the character and sort of draw in a relatability of her own grandmother, I think that makes the character that much more special, because you get a sense that there's love and energy invested in making Bix stand out. So I like that. I really do like that. So yeah, it was great. And then as far as a character that probably doesn't really want to stand out, of Mon Mothma, you got a chance to chat with frickin' Genevieve O'Reilly. Like, Mon Mothma, she's been Mon Mothma now for like over 17 years, if you count the deleted scene in Revenge of the Sith, with which I do. But I think it's she has. This was one of the interviews where I was like, and I know we say this all the time, but I was like, I really wish we had more time with her, because she has such a beautiful, articulate way of speaking. She's Mon Mothma, man. She is Mon, legit. She is Mon Mothma. Literally Mon Mothma, and I think that was what was so apparent from the conversation, is that they're very much tied. Like even her response to, why have you decided to continue, portraying this character? And she goes, it's because of her. And to come back to tell the sort of, we were talking about this, a bit of an sort of an origin story to how she gets to be the person that we know and so integral and important to the rebellion. Where did that begin? So to see her roots as a senator and the introduction of her character is fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think that it really does, again, go hand in hand with connecting with a character like Bix. There's a parallel there, very much like Kyle and Denise talked about as well with their characters. So I'm loving it. It's hard not to talk about this show in immense detail, but nonetheless, it was absolutely great for us to have the opportunity to sit down because we just feel that much more connected to the story that they're telling here with Andor.
It's Star Wars in general, like just any chance that we get to just talk about Star Wars with Star Wars is phenomenal. So again, big thanks to Disney Plus Canada and everyone who just makes these opportunities possible, because keep it coming. We want to talk to more people. I can't wait.
Yeah, man. Star Wars is life. Well, that is it for this special Behind the Geeks episode. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, feel free to subscribe to us both on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric or on podcast feeds. You can search up the Geekcentric podcast and you'll find us. We got a lot more Andor to talk. This pretty much kicks off Andor week. We got a spoiler-free review dropping, I believe, tomorrow, Tuesday. And then we will have the beginning of a new watch club starting Wednesday, September 21st, the same day as the episodes 1, 2, and 3 drop on Disney Plus. So be sure to subscribe to us wherever you listen and watch and do all the things that we're supposed to
click the bell or whatever. Do all those things.
We love Star Wars. We would love for you to come and join us and hear our thoughts. It's gonna be a good time because there's some stuff to talk about. Also keep in mind we have a ton of other episodes on our podcast feed and on YouTube. We got a whole bunch of interviews, like an interview with Alan Silvestri and Glenn Ballard, the composers from the most recent Pinocchio live action movie, which is on Disney Plus right now. Nate, as he mentioned, had a great conversation with Dan Whitney, aka Larry the Cable Guy, the voice of Mater. That was a great episode as well. It was awesome. It was awesome. And Nate also had a chance to talk with Zach Kreger from the director of Barbarian, which was a good time. How you guys chatted up all things spooky.
Oh yeah.
Lastly, we have a ongoing watch club right now, which is for Marvel Studios She-Hulk. We're dropping those episodes every Friday. There's a lot of stuff, so join us on YouTube, podcast feeds, all that stuff. But until next time, as we say, Nate,
may the Force be with you. Love ya.
Peace.